one time, Rita, oh, I never took my phone, brought my phone with me to the service.
Yeah, now I know.
No, you know. And for some reason, something just read your phone and take it, and I did. And I got almost, well, I got to the highway over there by Lowe's, and ring, 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 and it's Rita, and she's like, I was visiting a friend in a nursing home, and I locked the keys in the car,
I locked, yes.
locked the keys in the car, and she's like, oh, could somebody just pick me up and bring me to the service? And I won't, and I'm practically right there with it. She's laughing, and I was, I just, she walked away.
Yeah.
Went picked her up, and then she panicked because she realized inside the car she had left all the notes for her talk. And she said, I can't possibly talk without notes. And I know just how you feel. Oh, I would have been horrified. And I tell you, she got up there and gave one of the best talks, probably as good as any talk I've ever heard her speak, just from the heart.
You see why I love him?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so. Well, I like to think that it kind of keeps me on track so I don't get carried away. Thank you, Bill. And most of all, thanks to all of you for being here this morning. I know you remembered to set your clocks forward, you jumped forward, which is not an easy thing to do. So unless you live in Arizona or Hawaii, we all go through this, and thank you for being here, and it feels so good. Dave and I love the drive over from Fletcher, which is just south of Asheville, and we get to see the trees, and we get to see everything blooming, and not too much has changed as far as the houses and the people that live along the way, but it just made us aware of spring and how much we miss just coming over here. So it's great to be here this morning. And I'm also a trivia person. And somebody, oh, I think it was Eddie said last year on March 15th was the last time we were here together before the pandemic closed everything down. And what I went way beyond that, March 15th, 1993, those of you that lived here, we had a blizzard. And isn't it wonderful to have this wonderful spring now? So I was the last one to speak last year.
Right.
And you know, you and I really didn't think about it when we talked about today. And here I am, I'm kicking off your hopefully live season for this spring and summer. And I just feel very honored and I appreciate it. And I want to thank Bill for inviting me. And again, it's just wonderful to see you, and thanks for getting up this morning. And what a year we've had. I'm not going through everything that you already know, but this was a year lost and a lost year in many ways, because we're all affected by COVID-19. I lost my sister just after Christmas, and many of my friends lost people that are close to them. So we're dealing with the fallout on everybody's personal issues, and we have personal loss, financial loss. Some people have depression and anxiety. It affects all of us. And I figured out it's because this is something that's new to most people. We have lost control over some of the most basic aspects of our lives. Now, with the vaccinations coming, there's hope, and we know that it is going to get back to normal, but we have to adjust to this new normal and to all the challenges that come along with it. We're not out of the woods yet. So look at it as an investment, an invitation from the universe to practice patience and to look really for the very best in ourselves. And spring is such a great time for that to happen because spring inspires us. Everything is renewed. And after the clock sprang forward last night, nature now does the same. Nature continues just totally unaffected by any of our human problems. So I think that's quite encouraging to see the trees blooming again, the flowers coming out, and that they're not slowed down by our human concerns. And I feel that it encourages us that yes, we can begin again, be in that cycle of renewal, and that we can begin again physically, mentally, and emotionally, and we can renew our spirit, and it'll help us to have a better year. And we have to sometimes remind ourselves that we are perfect children of God. God doesn't make junk. We are perfection, and therefore we are required to take care of that perfection. We really need to take care of ourselves. And there are some tools that makes this a little bit easier. Um, we did a lot of reading and movie watching and baking and eating and put on a few pounds during the winter. And now we have to get up and moving again and get with it and take care of ourselves because to take care of yourselves is the very, very best thing you can do, not just for yourself, but for others. Remember, in the word dis-ease, it, it means it's an absence of ease. We need to get back into feeling at ease. And whatever we can do to being at ease, that's what we want to work on and want to remind ourselves every day. And that's not selfish because it does create a wonderful positive ripple effect. Now, in the Bible, it says your cup has to be full to run over. And some people really need encouragement to believe that or practice it because many of us are taught that it's very selfish to take care of ourselves or to put ourselves first. I used to point that out to my adult students that it is okay because it says so in the Bible. It's okay to point that out in the Bible belt. And they believe, oh, yes, maybe it is okay if I take care of myself. We know when we get on an airplane, they tell you if anything happens, the oxygen mask comes down, you put that over your face, and you take care of yourself first before you even help anyone else or show any concern. So it's perfectly all right to do that. And the Buddha says, every man and woman is the architect of their own healing and destiny. We are in charge of our well-being. Now, in nature, all this is obvious, but it's interesting that our bodies are on a very similar cycle of renewal. Picture yourself in a constant state of renewal. Manage or avoid stress. Now that's good advice, isn't it? Everybody knows to try to avoid stress if you possibly can. But stress hormones inhibit our immune system. I try to remind myself when I get upset. So we need to take every opportunity to adjust our attitude and to increase our positive emotions and to kind of deal with stress as best as we can. Now, one thing that helps me is to say, what makes me feel good? Do what gives you joy. It's not selfish. Remember, it creates that ripple effect. If you do something that gives you joy, makes you feel good, and boy, if I'm happy, everyone around me is happy. So you want to think about what motivates you, what inspires you. We can be motivated by currency or experiences. And invest in what is right, currency or experiences. And how about a little bit of both? I like that. Now there are ongoing negative and cautionary news. We hear that we can't let our guard down just yet. And so let's try to be as optimistic as possible. We know this too shall pass, and we know that everything is in divine order, and Mother Nature certainly gives us the encouragement for participation in that positivity. Helen Keller, I think, said it best. She said, no pessimist ever discovered the secret of the stars, sailed to an uncharted land, or opened a new heaven to the human spirit. So maybe let's find that optimist inside of us and see if we can discover a new land. Before COVID, there was a lot of talk about social support and the importance of family and being together, and especially for older people. Now, the pandemic has been tough for those folks that are used to being together with their family and friends and their social circles at all times, and they miss the personal interaction. So, but not everyone is that way. Some people prefer to be alone. I'm somewhat of a hermit, but I'm very comfortable in social situations. So it's extra great for those of us to, to be in a situation like me this morning, to be with like-minded people, and to just enjoy having taken the trip and being with you. And it's wonderful to see everyone, and it's a whole full circle of being back together. And it's not how much socializing we do. It's who you hang around with. And I think everyone understands that. Dave and I haven't seen family since last year, and we talk on the phone and we Zoom hello with the family and the new puppy. And I sometimes attend Zoom meetings, and it reminds me of a modern seance. Hi, are you there? Is this Rita? I can't see you. Who is with you? Where are you? This last Zoom meeting I attended was very much like that, and I thought we were having a seance, and it was quite fun. It was okay. So, but what a blessing of technology to be able to do this and to share yourself, and for you all, hi there, to see those of us that know very little about anything as technical as a Zoom meeting. Um, so I, along with many other people, am looking forward to seeing you in person and to get together in person. And so this is also an opportunity to review. Who do we hang around with? Do we need to renew some old acquaintances? Yeah, this is a great time to sort of look at all of that as far as our physical closeness and our social support is concerned. So only hang out where you really feel joy, what makes you feel good, and allow yourself to play in the right sandbox with the right kids and just enjoy life again. That's one of the beauties of our new normal, that we're getting closer to that point. So let's also maybe think about our work environment and our schedule of activities in retirement. What we do can be a real joy to ourselves. But if we love what we do, that also creates that ripple effect for the people that are around us, because It's a joyous activity. And that, of course, is a positive ripple effect. Warren Buffett, I just read that yesterday. He said, don't work for anyone who you don't respect or admire. Work only for people you enjoy. So let's take a look at where we work and where we have our social activities. Is it joyful? Is it beneficial to us? This last year, many working people had to step away from their physical work location, and they're now working at home. And that, I observed, can cause a feeling, bless you, of loss of identity, which is really a misplaced significance. You are not your job. You're not your worth is not in your work. Your value is not in your vocation alone. Now it can be extremely important. Nurses, doctors, all people that are now the support people that are out there and they're getting very worn down. They really need our support as far as having more time to absolutely re-energize themselves. So the teachers are important, they're working off and on. Your work can be extremely important to other people. However, your true values are those that do not change in a personal crisis or a pandemic. So it's time, this time is an opportunity to reassess our values. Don't misplace your significance. You are extremely important. Now is a chance to do some emotional and physical spring cleaning. I like this part. It's a good time to look at our priorities and to release not only tangible items, but anything that drags us down, like anger, grief, resentment, and trauma. Many of us still carry that around, and with a challenge like the pandemic, doesn't that just magnify our challenges, our pain, and our feelings sometimes? So there are helpful ways of dealing with that challenge. Meditation, I know that is a wonderful way to get back in balance. Exercise. Maybe read what inspires you and talk to someone that you trust. Very important. We all know from our gut, way deep down, who we can talk to, who we can trust, who gives us the feedback that will lift us up and bring us back into joy. And that's where we want to be. And one very important thing is prayer. We all have our own way of praying. And I learned a long time ago, the shortest but really most effective prayer at any time, anywhere, is just to say thank you. Thank your higher power for who you are, where you are, what's going on, and know that you're in the right and perfect place. Thank you just for being here this morning. I'm just so thrilled. So, prayer of any magnitude or as small as thank you is really, really important to help us over a lot of humps. Mother Teresa said, I used to pray that God would feed the hungry or to do this or that, but now I pray that He will guide me to do whatever I'm supposed to do. I used to pray for answers, but now I'm praying for strength. I used to believe that prayer changes things, but now I know that prayer changes us and we change things. So Are there changes needed in our lives for that new normal that we're going into? Sometimes we look for advice out there and we're tempted to listen to the so called experts. Oh boy, I hear it every day, the experts on television. But I form my own opinion. A study says that the more successful and self assured people become, the smaller is the group of advisors that they trust. Interesting. Participants in a position of power ignored almost two-thirds of the advice they received, according to one Harvard study. Other participants, the control and lower groups, ignored the advice about half as often. And I thought about it, and I suggest we just believe the prognosticator who predicted that we will bounce back. Life will never be quite the same if you think about it. Trust your own intuition and inner guidance system on any decision you make as we work through that pandemic and as we go into 2021. However you interpret this moving on into 2021, just the anticipation of being able to move on is encouraging. We do have something to look forward to. And there is a light at the end of that tunnel. The world will survive COVID-19. It has other pandemics. None may be as this one, but we never experienced it. We don't know. This is bad for us, but we do know that we will get through it. How we deal with it is ours alone. We can limp into it or we can charge ahead. And I suggest joy and love and light and all of these wonderful words and reminders on the tree here, that if we believe in this and practice it, that we can move ahead in a very, very good fashion. There's a German writer named Franz Kafka, and he said, everything you love can be lost, but in the end, love will return another way. Embrace the change. It is inevitable for growth. Together we can shift pain into wonder and love, but it's up to us to continue to consciously and intentionally create that connection, the wonder and love. So we're really not out of the woods yet, but with common sense and a lot of love and joy this spring and summer, and the rest of 2021 can be just a new beginning and a new normal. And it's also the opportunity to practice faith, hope, and love. And every morning we can begin again. That's the wonderfulness of it all. You know, grandmother used to say, it'll be better tomorrow. Well, we know that with all of our joy and our positive attitude, we can begin again. I would like to close with a little poem by Pat Wade Nicholson. It's called Begin Again. So I want you to close your eyes, put your feet on the floor, and let's take a deep cleansing breath. Begin again. I am learning to let go, thinking I am in control. I am learning to see the beauty in hope and in change. I am learning to feel the joy of surrender and faith. I am learning to enjoy a life with less distraction. I am learning to know silence is essential to growth. And I know above all else that the love of God is behind all things. Bless you.
Thank you.
And so it is. Have a happy and healthy 2021.
Thank you, Rita.
Oh, you're welcome.